You're lying in bed, eyes wide open, the house is completely still, and the clock reads 3:14 a.m. again. If this keeps happening to you, I want you to know something important right now. You are not broken. Your body is not failing you, and you're definitely not alone in this. After the age of 60, waking up in the middle of the night becomes one of the most common experiences people go through, and yet almost nobody talks about it openly. People assume something is wrong with them. They worry. They lie there in the dark, frustrated, wondering why sleep used to be so easy, and now it feels like a battle. But here's the truth. There are real, simple reasons this happens, and once you understand them, it takes away so much of that worry. That's exactly what this video is about. No complicated medical terms, no scary explanations, just calm, honest clarity about what's going on with your sleep and what genuinely helps. So let's start with the first thing. Your sleep rhythm actually changes as you age. This is something most people were never told. When you were in your 30s and 40s, your body produced a generous amount of a natural sleep hormone called melatonin. It helped you fall asleep. It helped you stay asleep, and it kept you in deep sleep for longer stretches of the night. But after 60, your body gradually produces less of it. Not dramatically, not dangerously, just enough that your sleep becomes lighter, more fragile, easier to interrupt. So when you wake up at 3 a.m., it's not because something went wrong that night. It's because your sleep has become thinner, like a blanket that used to be heavy and warm, but is now just a little lighter than before. That one shift explains a lot, and most seniors are surprised when they learn that this is a normal part of aging, not a sign of illness. Have you ever noticed that you fall asleep just fine, but staying asleep is the real challenge? That's exactly what this lighter sleep cycle looks like. Now here's the second thing, and this one catches people off guard. Your body clock shifts earlier as you get older. Scientists call it an advanced circadian rhythm, but what it really means is simple. Your body wants to sleep earlier and wake earlier. So if you're going to bed at 11 p.m. like you always have, but your internal clock has quietly moved to a 9:30 p.m. rhythm, then by 3 a.m., your body believes it's already had a full night of rest. It thinks morning has arrived. You're not waking up too early. Your body thinks it's waking up right on time. This is where things quietly go wrong for a lot of people. They fight it. They force themselves to stay in bed until 7 a.m. They lie there frustrated. And that frustration actually makes the next night worse, because now the bed has become a place of stress instead of rest. If you're still watching, type 2 in the comments. Just the number, I'd love to know you're here. The third reason is one that almost nobody connects to their sleep. What you're doing in the evening, between dinner and bedtime, matters far more than you think. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's 67, lives alone, enjoys her routines. Every evening after dinner, around 6:30, she settles into her recliner, turns on the television, and usually dozes off for 30 to 45 minutes before waking up and eventually heading to bed around 10. Margaret didn't think of that as a nap. She called it resting her eyes, but her body counted it as sleep, real sleep. So by the time she went to bed at 10, her body had already banked almost an hour of rest. That meant by 2:30 or 3 a.m., her sleep tank was full. She'd wake up and not be able to fall back asleep. When Margaret stopped dozing in the recliner and instead kept herself gently active in the evenings, maybe folding laundry, doing a crossword at the kitchen table, or calling her daughter, her nighttime sleep improved within a week. Not perfectly, but noticeably. Here's something many people don't realize. Those small evening naps feel harmless. They feel earned, but they quietly steal from your nighttime sleep without you ever making the connection. Think about your own evenings for a moment. Is there a window of time where you drift off, even briefly, before your actual bedtime? Now let's talk about the fourth reason. This one is physical and very practical. After 60, many people wake up at night simply because their body needs the bathroom. It's common. It's not something to be embarrassed about. But what matters is what happens after you get up. Some people use the bathroom and fall right back to sleep within minutes. Others get up, and then their mind switches on. They start thinking, worrying, planning tomorrow, replaying yesterday, and suddenly they're wide awake at 3 a.m. with a brain that won't quiet down. The waking up isn't the problem. It's what the mind does once you're awake. And this leads directly to something that genuinely helps. When you wake up in the middle of the night, keep everything low. Low light, low stimulation, low effort. Don't turn on bright lights. Don't check your phone. Don't look at the clock. Because the moment you see the time, your brain starts calculating how many hours of sleep you've lost, and that calculation creates anxiety. Just move quietly, keep your eyes soft, return to bed and breathe slowly. Even if you don't fall back asleep immediately, you're giving your body permission to rest rather than react. The fifth thing I want to share with you is about what happens during the day, long before bedtime. There's strong evidence that people who get morning sunlight, even just 15 or 20 minutes of natural light before 10 a.m., sleep more soundly at night. The light helps reset your internal clock. It tells your brain when daytime is, so that later it knows more clearly when nighttime should be. This doesn't mean you need to go for a long walk or exercise hard. It can be as simple as sitting on your porch with your morning tea, standing near an open window, walking to the mailbox and back. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but your brain responds to light the way a plant does. It uses it to set its entire rhythm. And when you spend most of your day indoors under artificial light, your brain loses track of time. It doesn't get a clear signal for when to produce that melatonin we talked about earlier. So the sleep problem that shows up at 3 a.m. might actually begin at 9 a.m., when you stayed inside all morning without realizing what your body needed. If that part makes sense, type 4 below. Just the number. And finally, the sixth thing. This one is about the story you tell yourself when you can't sleep. Many people who wake at 3 a.m. immediately go to a dark place in their mind. They think, what's wrong with me? They think, I'll be exhausted tomorrow. They think this is only going to get worse. But here's a calm and surprising truth. Older adults actually need slightly less sleep than they did at 40. Not dramatically less, but enough that 6 or 6.5 hours of solid sleep may be entirely sufficient for your body, even if the world keeps telling you that you need a full 8. So some of that worry at 3 a.m. is based on a number that may not even apply to you anymore. When you remove the pressure to sleep 8 perfect hours, something interesting happens. You relax. And when you relax, sleep comes more easily. It's a gentle cycle, the opposite of the anxious one. You don't need to perform sleep, you just need to let it arrive. So let's bring this all together quietly. Your sleep changed because your body changed. That's natural. The melatonin dipped a little. Your body clock shifted earlier. Those evening naps, the indoor days, the bright bathroom lights at 3 a.m., the worry about the clock, they all added up in small ways that made nighttime harder than it needed to be. But none of it is permanent, and none of it means something is seriously wrong. Small shifts make a real difference. Morning light, staying gently active in the evening, keeping the middle of the night moments dim and quiet, letting go of the pressure to sleep perfectly. You've lived through decades of change. You've adapted to harder things than this, and sleep, even when it feels stubborn, can come back to you in its own gentle way. Do you have a 3 a.m. habit, something you do when you wake up that either helps or makes it worse? I genuinely love to hear about it in the comments. Sometimes the most helpful advice comes not from a video, but from someone who's been through the exact same thing and found what works for them. If this felt helpful, you might enjoy some of the other videos on this channel. They're all made with the same care, the same calm pace, and the same respect for where you are in life. You're welcome here anytime. Take good care of yourself tonight.